Located in far west Texas in one of the largest binational communities in the world and nestled in the beautiful mountain setting of the Chihuahuan Desert, the University of Texas at El Paso is unique among research institutions. UTEP is not only an academic giant, but also an economic force. Alliance Riggers and Constructors Limited, an advanced AISC certified erector, was contracted to erect a steel structure pedestrian bridge at the main entrance to the university and a steel roof for the newly built 130,000 square foot, 5-story, $60 million health sciences and nursing building. Early planning considerations determined that the completed bridge would be finished on site. Roof and floor decking with shear connectors was installed to finish the main bridge structure. The 163-foot-long steel bridge, which is 10 feet wide by 12 feet high and weighs 200,000 pounds, was completed on April 1, 2011. Because the lifting would require 2 cranes, this would be deemed a critical lift. The LR-1280 Liebherr, a 300-ton capacity crawler, was located on the student parking lot where the 150-foot crane path needed to be constructed, varied by 3 feet from one end to the other. Once the crane path was built, Alliance Riggers performed a load test by lifting and carrying 130,000 pounds of counterweights, 30% more than the actual lift, to verify crane path stability. The bridge spanned over the major entrance to the university from a 5-story building to a 3-story tower with minimal tolerances. Numerous trees spotted the site that had to be planned around. Power lines spanned over the parking lot that always had to be barricaded. There was not a level spot to be had on this site. The weight of the bridge was calculated to be right at 200,000 pounds. That's 100 tons. Over 100 semi-tractor loads of material and equipment had to be coordinated on and off site. Because of all the critical factors involved, weight of bridge, site constraints, terrain, tandem lift, time constraints, and numerous loads of materials and equipment, it was apparent that precise planning by Alliance Riggers project managers Philip H. Cordova and Phil Pruitt would be the key to a smooth project. Sunbowl Drive, where the 45-foot by 60-foot path was constructed, varied by 3 feet. The engineered fill, sand cushion, and sterling hardwood mats were used to bring the crane sides to level. The university student parking is constructed on debris-filled soils over decomposed granite. Consideration for poor soil conditions existed at the university because it cannot support more than 2,000 pounds per square foot, and the cranes were exerting more than 5,000 pounds per square foot. Both the student parking lot where the 150-foot crane path needed to be constructed and Sunbowl Drive where the 45 by 60-foot pad was constructed varied by 3 feet from one end to the other. Alliance Riggers pre-staged crane mats, crane counterweights, and boom sections on transports to facilitate a quick assembly on lift day. Steel plates and 1-inch conveyor belting was used in conjunction with crusher fines to protect steel and structure while mobilizing an assembly of the crane. The LR-1280 Liebherr, situated on the top student parking lot, is a 300-ton capacity crawler and was equipped with 268,000 pounds of counterweight and 114 feet of main boom to lift 100,000 pounds at a 46-foot radius. With this configuration, there was a 30% safety factor of actual load versus crane capacity. A link belt HTC 1040 was used in tight quarters on Sunbowl Drive to assist in the assembly. The LR-1300 Liebherr, located 15 feet below on Sunbowl Drive, is a 330-ton capacity crawler crane equipped with 399,000 pounds of counterweight and 154 feet of main boom would be required to lift 100,000 pounds at a maximum 74-foot radius. In this configuration, there was a 25% safety factor of actual load versus crane capacity. Alliance Riggers performed the OSHA-required safety checks on both cranes. Prior to lift day, the Alliance Riggers team pre-assembled the LR-1300 house and car body with only the tracks to allow it to crawl from the staging area over the new driveway onto the newly paved Sunbowl Drive and onto the engineered crane pad. The crane pad was 45 feet by 60 feet, with the roadway below sloping 3 feet. The engineered pad with sand cushion and double layer of sterling hardwood crane mats was 6 feet thick on one side and tapered to grade on the north side. The site elevations varied such that there was a 15-foot difference in elevations between both cranes. The LR-1280 Liebherr required a 150-foot long by 45-foot wide crane path topped with engineered fill, a sand cushion, and new sterling hardwood crane mats. All this was constructed over the existing student parking, which consisted of uncompacted debris fill on decomposed granite. The LR 1300 Lee Bear on Sunbowl Drive then raised the boom to allow personnel to check structure clearances. The crane climbed onto the pad with Tommy Cordova, an NCCCO crane operator at the controls. He was required to rotate the tracks 90 degrees once on the pad within a limited space without damaging newly laid concrete sidewalks, curbs, and driveways while getting into lift position. On Friday, April 1, 2011 at 6:30 p.m., a decision was reached by Frank H. Cordova, the lift director, to start the lift to avoid high winds, which, added to the forecast, could have accelerated due to the tunneling effect with winds following the Franklin Mountains at the southernmost tip of the Rocky Mountains. Frank directed his sons, Paul Cordova on the Liebherr LR-1280 and Thomas Cordova on the Liebherr LR-1300, to lift the pre-assembled 200,000-pound bridge. The crane operator of the LR-1280 crane on the student parking lot, Paul Cordova, an NCCCO crane operator at the controls, was required to crawl forward on the student parking crane path. Thomas Cordova, in a closely coordinated tandem operation, swung the bridge around while Paul Cordova crawled the bridge forward on the student parking path, inching it between the ground obstacles and positioning the bridge over the two-way Sun Bowl Drive Street. The tandem lift was closely coordinated with radio communications. Flagging was hung from the bottom of the bridge to help monitor winds and structure elevation. The bridge was lifted 40 feet up, the two cranes moved the bridge over the cast-in-place concrete piers by walking the LR-1280 Liebherr forward and the LR-1300 Liebherr booming up and rotating to the left. As the bridge is lowered onto its concrete piers, clearances are tight. There are barely a couple of inches clearance between the bridge structure, the atrium walkway wall, and the tower building. Any sudden moves, shifts in wind velocity, or uncoordinated crawl and swing moves between the two massive Liebherr cranes would have been catastrophic. When the major street, Sunbowl Drive, was closed, Alliance riggers had 72 hours to perform the following. Construct the crane pad on Sunbowl Drive. Assemble the LR1300 and get it up on the pad. Perform the lift. Disassemble the crane. Demobilize off Sunbowl Drive. Remove crane pad. Over 100 semi-tractor loads of material and equipment had to be coordinated on and off-site. The UTEP Pedestrian Bridge took a lot of pre-planning and coordination to execute a lift of this size and magnitude with 0 accidents, within budget and under the 72-hour time limit. At 7:30 p.m., the bridge was lowered onto the concrete piers with only a few inches at each end to spare and a few minutes of daylight remaining. Alliance Riggers and Constructors Limited, an advanced AISC certified erector, is proud to present our entry into the Steel Erectors Association of America Project of the Year for the year 2011. For Class 1 erection contract up to $500,000 consideration. Produced and directed by RDI Global Services, Dr. Linda S. Restrepo and Dr. Carlos E. Restrepo.